What's up? Hey, hello, everyone. Wow. So today we are back going to be talking about the challenge on MTV. So my name is Rachel.
I'm Alyssa, and we are super excited to be talking about the challenge. We talked about it last season. Was it last season or two
Yeah.
seasons ago? Whenever the last time Jay played, we watched the first episode of the challenge and did a video about it on our channel. But neither of us are like devoted the challenge fans. I've seen like half a season. Rachel's seen 6 or 7 seasons. So
Yeah. So Alyssa and I are both like fairly newer challenge fans. I heard about it back like when I was an RA in college. My supervisor, since like they all know I like Survivor, was like, "Oh, you should watch the challenge." And in our like one-on-one meeting, he pulled up like a challenge video on YouTube, and I was like, "Oh, that looks sort of dumb." But then I saw like, oh, like Big Brother players were on it, so I was like, "Okay, let me check it out and stuff." So then I was like, "Oh, like we actually recognize some of these people that are on it." And then Jay is on it, and now Natalie is on it. So I did a little binge of a few seasons before starting this upcoming challenge, season 36, Double Agent. So because Survivor is not on right now, no US Survivor, Australian, South African Survivor, we're going to be talking about the challenge. And we have some familiar faces this season if you watch Big Brother, the challenge, the challenge, all those popular vets are coming back, or if you watch like Survivor and all of those other reality TV shows.
yeah, there was someone from Love Island, I think. So, yeah, if you're in the reality TV sphere, you probably recognize at least one of the people that's on the challenge. So, yes.
Yeah. So I guess overall thoughts of like this episode, the premiere episode was literally so freaking hype. On Monday of this past week, they had a little declassified episode, which at first I wasn't thinking of watching because I was like, oh, usually these like pre-episodes to the real first episode are like really dumb or boring. But actually it was like a legit kind of pre-first episode where all of the people went to that mansion the first night and you could like see who knows who's friends with who, and see like some of those dynamics that wasn't in the first episode. So if you are new to the challenge, checking out that declassified episode on the MTV website might be helpful because you get more background on all the players versus in the premiere episode. You really don't see a lot of the people unless they were like up for elimination or like fighting with other people. So that's good if you haven't seen like the challenge before. But I thought like it was so hype. All of the like drone shots are so cool. The editing is always so good. The music is so good. And I was just so amazed. Like they literally finished filming this season in October, 2 months of post-production editing. And now it's like premiering in December. And like to do it during a pandemic, I was just like, wow, these people work hard.
Yeah, I thought this episode was really hype. I am really excited by the twist that they have this season. So, the title of the season, I guess, is The Challenge Double Agents. And so they have like a very like spy type thing going on where like their first challenge was to like defuse a bomb. And it's just, I thought I'm really excited because I didn't really find the first season interesting because it just kind of seemed like, yeah, but I really like the theme surrounding this one. So I'm hoping that they continue to do cool things with it because I was really excited by this premiere episode.
Yeah, and by last season, Alyssa means Total Madness, which Jay was on last season, which is what we did our first podcast about the challenge on. And yeah, I feel like Total Madness is sort of on the bottom of a lot of people's like season rankings of all the seasons. So maybe that wasn't a good one to like start with. But yeah, I thought the first challenge, they're like changing all of the names of everything to make it like spy related. So it's not even like the daily challenge anymore. It's like the missions that they're doing. So we'll just see what words we use for that. But for the first challenge, it was called Mission Decryption. And I thought like you have to run up the little hill and then get the like cylindrical thing to memorize the colors to put it in the order on your secret platform. And I thought like, why would you run up the mountain? I feel like it might have been better to just like wait at the bottom, like we saw some people do in the men's rounds where they just waited at the bottom until the cylindrical container came back down, because like I feel like you're not going to be fighting for the container at the top of the mountain both times it first came back down. So maybe save your energy and wait at the bottom.
Yeah, I feel like especially because getting it first doesn't really seem to help, because then you just have people tackling you and you can't even really look at the colors to begin to memorize it. So it's like, I don't know. It just seems like, yeah, it
Yeah,
didn't seem like it was a good strategy.
I liked how there was only like one container that everyone had to look off of, because then it led to like the like tackling or like big piles of people trying to like get the container to look at the colors. And I was glad that they had covers on their like platforms where you put in your answers, so there was less cheating. Some people like didn't put down their briefcase cover, and some people did when they would run back to go look at the container. So I did like that they actually had covers for people so that like you would prevent cheating. And I feel like at least in puzzles on Survivor and stuff, they need to start putting up dividers or like cover sheets so people can stop cheating, especially if you're watching The Amazing Race this season. There's a lot of like cheating or like helping, and we saw like helping this episode with Nicole and Lolo. So I don't know, I'm not sure if I'm a fan of like people helping other people on like puzzles or like answers like this. I just feel like everyone should do it for themselves.
Yeah, it's kind of, it sucks when people help other people and then it just, it seems to take away kind of like the competitive spirit of the game, because it's like if you just have someone shouting the colors at you, that's not actually you doing anything. It's them deciding that they're okay if you win. And I don't know, I feel like that could end up changing the strategy of the game in a way that's not super like helpful. Like, oh, I'll help you win this mission if you decide not to put me in the battle match or whatever. And then I don't know, I just feel like that's not super fun. So
Yeah, I agree. I get how it's a strategy. Like, oh, you have an alliance, you want this person to work with you, so like share some answers here or there. So like the people will like you more, so they'll be more likely to give you information when you need it, maybe rub your back, scratch your back when you need it kind of thing. Like I help you here, you'll help me later by not throwing me into the elimination. But yeah, I don't know. Just like after seeing The Amazing Race this season and how like the alliance there has like shared all of the answers, like you're saying, it does get rid of that competitive aspect, because once one person figures out the answer, then they share it with everyone else. Then you just don't share it with certain people. Then it's like, well, you know, you sort of change the game in a way that suits yourself. But like if everyone had to do the task by themselves, for themselves, and with no extra help, then it's like you don't know where like that answer would have come from. Maybe the person that was eliminated wouldn't have been eliminated. I don't know. I don't like sharing of answers. Everyone should have to do it for themselves.
yeah, especially because then it kind of sucks if you're just the person who they decide doesn't get to know the answers. Like, I feel like one of the things I don't like about the challenge is their like general behavior towards rookies. And like, oh, if you're a rookie, you automatically get voted out or whatever. Like, that just seems kind of boring to me. And it's like rookies already have a huge disadvantage without putting more of a disadvantage on them by making it much harder for them to then like win one of the missions. So
Yeah, which is what we'll talk about later in this episode. But I thought literally the funniest thing on the episode was when CT threw the shoe in Wes's face. And I was like, holy crap. And then they kept on replaying it, slow-moing it, jiffing it. And I was like, this is so freaking funny. Like Wes literally like crippled backwards like with that blow.
yeah, I thought his nose was gonna start bleeding because it looked like it got him really hard. So
Honestly, that was like the funniest part of the episode. But I think with the winners, Anissa won for the women and Fessy won for the men. Fessy is from Big Brother, if you watch Big Brother. And so I thought really good for Anissa, especially because in like the other seasons that I've watched, like I think Tori or someone said in a confessional, Anissa does get shat on a lot because like she is maybe less physical than the other people, like that kind of thing. And so I thought like good for her. Like she is winning the first daily challenge right out of the gate. And when TJ was like, oh, the winner of the winner is the person that did it in the fastest time, Alyssa was like, oh yeah, Fessy. But then it was Alyssa. I was like, dang, that's got to be a feel-good moment for her coming out of the gate strong, because she's proving to the people that even though they like shat on her all the time for being a layup or for like not doing as well in challenges, like she's hopefully here to play.
Yeah, so I felt it was cool to see Alyssa win, I guess. I thought it was kind of interesting that they based it on who did it the fastest, because like I feel like the men's game and the women's game were very different, and so it felt weird to compare them directly. So, but it was still cool. But as the winner, Alyssa got to be the first person to pick her partner because, surprise, surprise, double agents, they're playing in pairs. And so that was super exciting because I don't think anyone knew that they were pairing up before, like, what's the host's name? Justin?
TJ? What did you say, Justin?
Yeah, I knew it had a J in it.
Yeah, TJ.
Yeah, before TJ was like, and she gets to pick her partner, and everyone was like, what? So, yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, that was exciting. People were probably like speculating, oh, double agents too, or maybe we're doing teams of like 15 because there's 30 people to start. So like at least the vets are probably like, you know, thinking ahead of like what this is going to mean, because it's usually like a twist or like partners or teams or something. And so with this, Alyssa picks first, and I was like, okay, wow, she gets all of the power, all of the male choices are open, you know, she gets to pick and the dude can't say no. And so it was sort of funny, sad, but Fessy has a confessional like, oh, I don't want to be picked by Alyssa kind of thing. And so Alyssa does pick Fessy, and I thought that was a good choice because obviously like Fessy is super strong, he's really big, the other men are afraid of him like we saw last season. Like Fessy in physical challenges is like really scary, and so people probably don't want to go against him. But also I feel like with the twist of the double agents, which we'll talk about at the end in the last final challenge, like I think Fessy is going to try to switch away from Alyssa or like get thrown into an elimination so he can like win and then like switch from Alyssa or try to get stolen from Alyssa to go with a new partner. I don't think they're going to last as a partnership.
No, it didn't seem like Fessy was that happy to be partnered with Alyssa. I think he was only happy to be with her because that day they both had, is it called having immunity? What do they call it in the challenge?
I guess safety.
Sure, since they both like have safety, like might as well keep with her for now. But I think if she does turn out to be like a physical liability like everyone is afraid of, then he'll try to flip away from her. So
yeah, and I could see like the other women like wanting to steal Fessy away. Like Casey might want to go with Fessy because they have their big brother relationship, and at least closer to the end, that's where I think the double agent twist can be very interesting, is like when you get closer to the finale, I guess, with the final challenge, people might be thinking, oh, are we running the final in pairs? Is it an individual final challenge where like we just add up all the times and we get one male and one female winner kind of thing? And so if they're thinking it's like a paired final, or like TJ might say like, oh, have a good partner soon because we're doing a final challenge that is in pairs, people might be trying to go into an elimination to try to switch their partner towards the end. Because I really think like, yeah, right now they can stay partners, but I think towards the end when people might be thinking that the final might be in pairs, they might want to switch out their partner to have someone that's better or that like better suits their strengths than weaknesses.
yeah, I think a lot of it is because they don't know what's happening. People are kind of okay with the partners they have now, but I would say that the person who went home partially because she picked the wrong partner. So maybe people should have been more intelligent about which partners they picked.
So after, Alyssa picks Fessy, and then TJ is like, okay, everyone else, you can just pick your own partner, stand next to them. And that was like, holy crap, because that is new. Usually it's not like, oh, random pick like this where you can just stand next to someone and make them your partner in like Rivals or other paired seasons. Like it is preset by production who your partner's with, or like in like other seasons, it's like the winner of the challenge, and then it's like all based on times of the rest of the people, and then in that order you get to pick your partner. So I feel like it was very new to have it all like random and you can just like pick who you want to stand next to. And I thought that was really interesting because it led to a lot of awkward like situations, like we saw with like CT shutting down Cam and like literally doing interviews like, oh, why should I be partnered with you kind of thing, and like saying no to people. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I feel like that's so awkward to say no to someone coming up to you, especially like someone like Cam, you know, who has a resume. It's not like a rookie or someone you don't know is coming up to you. Then you could be like, yeah, no, because like you're CT and you have like the resume also. But I don't know. I just thought it was so awkward because it's like when the teacher in your class is like, okay, everyone pair up, but like you're new and you don't know anyone.
Exactly the thing that I was thinking about. But it felt really awkward and it was just kind of uncomfortable to watch. And then one of the things that was surprising to me was the fact that Lolo didn't get picked very quickly. Like, I think she was one of the last people unpaired. And I'm like, she's literally an Olympian. If you want someone who's a physical threat, be with her. And I Googled Lolo because I had never heard of her. And she's like an Olympian for both the Summer and Winter Olympics. Like, what the heck? I'm not even good enough at one sport to be an Olympian, let alone two. What the heck?
Yeah, no, it's like so awkward for like the rookies or like the people that are like our vets. So like Big T, like people that people think are like less physical or like less like, you know, good at challenges that like no like vets want to pair with them. So I was like, oh, that's so awkward, like for Big T or all of the rookies where like they're just standing there awkwardly kind of thing. And yeah, I don't know, like with Lolo and Nam being a partnered pair at the end, I was like, holy crap, they seem like a seriously bomb pairing because like Nam is like so buff and like Lolo being so physical also. I wonder how they are at puzzles. I'm thinking maybe people didn't want to be paired with Lolo from like she was on like the challenge champs versus pros. She's also on Celebrity Big Brother. And I feel like on the Celeb BB season that I watched with Lolo, maybe she got into fights with a lot of people. Maybe she's difficult to work with. So maybe that's why people didn't want to pair with her. Cause like she knows some people from this season. I think she knows like CT and Ashley and them because they were on the champs versus pros seasons together. So it is weird that like she wasn't picked by any of the people, especially because like she's fit as frick. Both of and Nam too. Like he's so big.
Yeah. So the one thing I was worried about is because they are both rookies, because I'm not sure that like it counts as being a vet if you were on a celebrity season. Question mark.
I think she's technically a rookie.
Yeah, she's like technically a rookie, but since they were both rookies, I was kind of worried that they would be targeted, but it didn't really seem to come up that much.
Yeah, I think another surprising one was like Darrell not getting picked or not being sought after. And like, I guess Natalie said no to Darrell and then Natalie picked Wes. And I was like, what the heck? Darrell, literally, I would want to be partners with him, like 4-time challenge champ. Like literally, I was just so shocked. And then Darrell and Amber B from Big Brother get partnered up together. I was like, dang, that's good for Amber. You know, you got that 4-time challenge champ as a partner. That is like a solid move, especially because you're new to the challenge. Like I would want to be paired with like someone that's won the challenge before kind of thing. So I just was shocked that no one wanted to be paired with Darrell.
I think it's one of those things where like you don't want to be hitched to someone who's like super a threat to people if you're not also a threat, because then it's like you want to either slide under the radar or you want to be like a big enough threat that nobody wants to mess with you. And so like someone like Natalie, I feel like she doesn't have enough like gravitas on her own to be a threat by herself. And so maybe she didn't want to. I guess that doesn't make sense though, because Wes is also a threat. So
that's like where this, yeah. I feel like that's where the strategy is interesting, right? Because like we saw with CT and Ashley pairing up, both of them are challenge champs, you know, super famous in the challenge universe. Wes is really popular, Darrell too. Like those 4 are the challenge champs this season. So it's like like they were saying, as strategy wise, do you pair up with the champs, or does that give you a bigger target on your back because you are paired with the champ? Like we saw this episode with the people that got thrown into the elimination, but also I think it is a little bit of a double-edged sword, because I would think that like you would want to be paired with like a vet or a champ because they know the ropes. They can maybe help guide you, mentor you, because it is your first season, or like your sort of newer second season for like all the new Big Brother, and like Jay is their second season. So I could see like that. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I would want to be paired with someone who has done the challenge before and like potentially won, even if it does put a bigger target on your back, because maybe they would have like more social game or have more friends that it would help save you also.
Yeah, and I guess like Natalie, as far as the whole like have someone to teach you the ropes thing, Natalie did like ask Wes questions about like what should be my strategy here. So I think that is good if you can get someone who will like actually mentor you and not just be annoyed that you're asking them tons of questions. So maybe that's
Yeah.
part of it too. Like maybe Natalie thought that Wes would be a better mentor than Darrell. I don't know.
Yeah, I just think like with the cast this season not having like bananas or like those other kinds of people where like they have a lot of like social power and like they seem to run the seasons that they're on, that it sort of leaves people like Wes and Ashley and CT sort of, I guess, vulnerable in a way that now you have the people like Cam and Leroy and Corey who are always like anti-champs. And so now that the like vets outnumber the champs, then they can actually like sort of get movement behind voting out the champs first, versus I think in other seasons, it's always like the West people and the CT people always have enough numbers that they can always like shush the minority of the other people that are like, let's vote out the champs. But then the champs are all like, no, we have the numbers. We're going to vote out the rookies. And then that's how like the cookie crumbles. So I feel like that's why it's sort of nice this season that that's not like what we saw happen this first episode. I think some other notable pairs, we saw Leroy and Casey and Cam and Josh split up but like go together because Cam and Leroy are dating. They are a power couple. I'm excited to see them back and together and like not fighting and like actually dating this time. And so that's cool. I thought it was good for them to split up. And so Cam and Leroy aren't partnered together. Josh and Casey aren't partnered together. And so I think that was good for them. But I do think Cam, similar to Fessy and Anissa, Cam will try to get rid of Josh and probably be partnered with like someone better.
Yeah, probably. I feel like a lot of the first couple weeks is going to be people subtly trying to get rid of the partners they don't actually like that much. But and
Yeah.
it's also interesting because I guess if they continue doing the alternating male-female elimination week, like one half of the pair is always going to be safe even in an elimination week, because it's like if you know it's a guy's elimination week, you can tell like people in your alliance who you trust, like, hey, I want to get rid of my partner, vote us in. So
No, yeah, exactly. That's why I think like the partner thing, it doesn't really matter unless it's for the daily challenges where you want to win like the safety and all the power to be able to vote the other pair into the elimination. But if it is just male female only eliminations and there's no like twist of like, oh, now it's like actually a paired team elimination, then I could see like people being like, if it's male elimination next week, Cam might be like, oh, I don't like Josh kind of thing. Throw us in there. And then Josh will have to compete against someone else. And then maybe Josh will go home. And then like I will be like a free agent or whatever. But I also think it might be too early to start doing that because we don't know what happens to the people that lose their partners. So like what happens to CT now? Does he get eliminated because his partner was eliminated? If he doesn't get chosen by Natalie like next week, what happens to him? Is he just another free agent with no partner? Can he compete in the daily challenges because he doesn't have a partner and everyone else has a male-female duo? Like, I think you would need those questions answered before you start like throwing yourself into elimination in the hopes of like getting your partner kicked out. Cause like if CT doesn't get picked, what's happening? You know?
yeah, but I think like those questions are going to be answered pretty quickly, like next week, basically, when we see what happens to CT. So I guess it won't take them long to learn like the rules of the game.
Yeah.
To be able to figure out like, oh, that is something I can safely do, or it isn't something I can safely do.
Yeah, which is a good thing. I think like we will know at the beginning of next week's episode if Natalie chooses to stay with Wes, chooses to steal another partner, or chooses to go with CT, like what's going to happen to the person without a partner. And so at least we know the rules, which is better than like Survivor Edge of Extinction. So we're already doing well there.
Yeah.
Speaking of other partners, we have Big T and Joseph. I think Big T might try to leave Joseph, like we were saying, because Big T was like sort of annoyed that Joseph was like sleeping in the club. Big T didn't even remember Joseph's name. I just think Big T is so cute. So much positive energy from her.
Yeah, I thought it was really funny when they like, I love that the producer showed her not remembering his name, because that was just like, they could have just told her his name and then she could have given her confessional like normally, but no, they showed. Oh, that was funny.
And so, yeah, for Survivor, we have Jay and Teresa as a pair. I think that'll be a good one, especially since Teresa is like coming back after taking a bunch of seasons off. She's knowledgeable, but also I think people might forget about her, or she's like a little bit under the radar because people, you know, haven't seen her on the TV recently, but she does have the connections to like all of the vets and like people she has played with before. So I think with the way the season is going, Jay won't be thrown into the first 3 male eliminations like we saw at the beginning of last season, where Jay just kept getting picked on because he's a little bit skinnier, smaller, and like all of that drama with like Bananas and Rogan and all of them. So I think Jay will make it further this season than last season.
Yeah, which I think is good, because I think with the challenge, like you want to prove that you can like do better every time so that they keep bringing you back. Because it's like, I feel like a lot of the people that get brought back a lot, it's like they get close to the end a lot but never really win. Or it's like, yeah, you have to do decently well. Or it's kind of like the first boot in Survivor, where it's like you never really get brought back unless there was something funny about you. So
Yeah, I feel like at least with the challenge, some of these people in the cast, I would argue that like they're not that good at like the challenges. I don't know. I feel like if you have a bigger losing streak than you do in a winning streak in like daily challenges or also eliminations, then they should stop bringing you back, because obviously like you lose a lot. So I feel like someone like Josh, like that's the case, but like he brings, you know, something to the TV and like his crying or his fighting with other people that he somehow keeps getting brought back. But I think like if you lose more than you win, I think you should stop being invited back.
yeah, I think it's also like they do bring back, like Survivor brings back people who repeatedly lose. Like both Amanda Kimmel and Russell Hantz were brought back despite the fact that they got to the final 3 twice and lost both times.
Okay, I think like they at least like can play the game. I'm thinking more of like bringing back like Debbie, someone like that is never going to win the game. Like you need to stop. Like they're never, even if they make a final challenge, like they're probably never going to win a final. Like stop bringing back those people, like the Debbies of the world. Like they're never gonna win. But I guess they're like TV comedy or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it's like I think we talked about this with Survivor, where you need more than just game bots in order to have an interesting game. But the challenge is in getting the ratio of game bots to like legit players balanced enough that like you have an interesting game, but you also just don't have a bunch of people running around who don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, I think if everyone like is buff and like good at competitions in the challenge, that will make it interesting, because it's not like, oh, I'm gonna go against Jay because he's skinnier. Like if they're all like super physical in like whatever different ways, they're better at puzzles, they can swim faster, like then it makes it more risky, because you're like, oh, I'm a little bit scared of doing this against Jay because like Jay rock climbs and like I'm scared of his like grip strength or something. But like you got to bring people that are like good at something. Otherwise, it's like, oh yeah, I want to go against them because they suck.
Yeah. So
that just like a tangent. So I thought it was cool that the cast, they get to vote in private. I thought that was good because other seasons it's like everyone sits around in a circle and they like just free forum talk and then they like all vote right there. So I like that it's private. So like you can keep it secret. You don't have to get influenced by like the scary people in the house that are going to like influence you and like be rude or like manipulate or try to like scare you into voting a certain way. So I like that it's in private. And then the double agent, so the winners of the challenge gets to pick the other team competing. And so the winner of the challenge at the end gets a skull, and then there's only 10 skulls, which I like because last season it was like there wasn't like a number that was specified. There wasn't a number of like challenges that were specified. So it was like less risky, I guess. Now that TJ said that there's only 10, I like that because it's more risky. You know that there's 30 people here, so 20 people are leaving before the final. Maybe all of those 10 skulls don't even make it to the final kind of thing. So I guess with 30 people, there's got to be some purges or like a hell of a lot of eliminations to get down to like just 10 people with skulls. So I do like that the number is finite.
I do wonder what happens to someone if like they are voted out with a skull. Like, does their skull then get added back into the pool again or not?
Well, I guess the person that wins against them would take the skull, right? So if like someone went against Natalie 2 weeks from now when it's another women's challenge, then it would still be one skull, but Natalie or the winner versus Natalie has the skull.
Oh, that's true. So could someone get multiple skulls? Or is it like a one per thing?
So I guess it's like Jay winning 2 times last season, he technically has, I think it's like a one per thing. Like they want 10 people at the end, but if you win twice, I think like Jay last season, it doesn't do anything for you, which sort of sucks.
Yeah, but it's like then they could theoretically have less than 10 people. Like if someone gets eliminated who has a skull by someone else who already has a skull, that means that the total number of skulls has decreased.
If you send like 2 people with skulls into the elimination challenge, I don't know. I guess there's got to
be a good strategy if for someone who like who has safety. Like if you are a person with safety who also has a skull and you want to limit the number of other people who get skulls, you can just keep sending yourself in. Like it might be kind of dumb if you don't know if you can win against the people, but it could also be really smart if you're limiting then the number of people who go up against you in the final.
Yeah, I guess that is interesting. There's probably like X number of challenges, and then like after that number, there like it somehow becomes 5 women and 5 men going into the final or something like that. I'm not sure how that math works, or like a purge or something to like get rid of a bunch of people at once. But yeah, I think like maybe closer to the end where like things are starting to like get smaller and like everyone left maybe has a skull, then maybe you throw in 2 people that have skulls in order to like get rid of one of them. If like you don't want Natalie to run the final, maybe Lolo has a skull or something. Like I wouldn't want to compete against those people, so maybe you throw them in so then like they don't win and then they don't get to go to the final because they lost at one of like the end challenges or something. I think that could be a strategy too.
Yeah. So what is difficult for me about the challenge is that I don't think that they think that much about these things.
I know where you're doing like the math of like how many like skulls there are to competitions.
Yeah, so
I feel like for Big Brother people, there was a lot of a talk about the Big Brother Alliance, which is Casey, Fessy, Josh, and Amber B. And we had some confessionals. Devin says that the BB crew backstabs people, and someone else said that they have no spines. So I think the BB Alliance is powerful because I think like through Fessy, you know, the foursome here, they're connected to like Nelson and Corey, which also brings in all of these people's partners. And so then you have like a big alliance running things. And so I think they can go far because they do have a lot of like different people. I feel like in one of the previews, we saw like, I don't know, Josh and Fessy fighting or something. So maybe the Big Brother Alliance is going to implode at some point, which like, of course, like someone in there is going to ruin it.
Yeah. One interesting thing about the secret voting this season is that you can go against your alliance because the voting is secret. However, they might find out because the safety people, I keep wanting to say the immunity winner, but like the safety people actually get to view who wins the who voted for everyone. But what's interesting about that is also they are just shown a screen with people's pictures, and it wasn't really clear how long they have to look at the screen, but it's like once it's dark, it's dark. So I thought that was interesting.
I thought the double agent chamber was so cool. Like that's different. You get to see like who gets to vote and like who voted for who. And so I think Alyssa and Fessy played it right. Like you were going to keep that secret. You better not be telling like everyone in the house this right away, because that is some tea about who voted for who. And like if someone lied to your face and said that they were going to vote for XYZ, but then they voted for someone else kind of thing. Maybe you go in and see people like voted for who voted against your alliance or who voted for your ally. Then you would like roast them the next day kind of thing. And so I think like they should keep this to themselves. And then maybe next week when the next daily challenge winners get to go to the double agent chamber, then maybe like you bring it up to them after the fact. And then like you have like a little secret alliance, sort of like Island of Idols, where like only the people that have been into the double agent chamber know what's like the deal of the double agent chamber. And then you can sort of like do some secret alliance stuff there and like figure out, oh, who voted for who, that kind of stuff. But yeah, like you're saying, I'm not sure if they're going to think that far ahead, but I think like I would definitely want to like try to create something with the other daily challenge winners, because like it's probably going to be a repeat of the same few groups that are going to continuously win those daily challenges. So you want to be on their good side and you want to create something secret there.
Yeah, because Alyssa and Fessy did not tell anyone that they got to see who voted for who. So until someone else like wins and figures that out, they don't know that Alyssa and Fessy know who people voted for.
So. Yeah, especially once that leaks, and then it's sort of like goes against the point of secret voting, because then if you know that the people are going to get to see who you voted for, then people can just go back to the scare intimidation tactics and be like, vote the way I say, or else I'm going to like rat you out because I get to see who voted for who kind of thing. And so I don't know. I would like it to be kept a secret for as long as possible.
Yeah, but I'm not sure how long it'll be kept a secret, just because of not knowing who next is the double agent, because that could change everything.
Yeah. So in this episode, we see Cam wanting to go against the champs, which I was like, yes, good. Let's not go and just do the easy route and vote for the rookies every time. So, you know, good for y'all. I think this is interesting how like this plays out, because I feel like I don't know. I feel like every single season, it's always like the champs or the vets, they stick together and they're like, let's vote out the rookies. One of us vets deserve to win. But I feel like this season, it's like actually coming to fruition without like Bananas or all of those other big name people there. And so like the Big Brother people are on board, the Corey crew, they're all on board. And I thought it was interesting that only the people that are like Wes, CT, and Ashley were the people that were like, you're so dumb for wanting to vote the champs in first. We should vote the rookies in first. They were the only people pushing that rookie rhetoric, but like obviously they had to push that rhetoric because it's otherwise their names are on the block. But also I feel like, you know, no one wants to see you win again.
Yeah, it's like no one else is here to make this your like fifth time winning the challenge or whatever. So I don't know. I also am interested to see where this is going, because obviously, I guess we can just say the pair that gets put in by the house is Ashley and CT. So I guess I hope that kind of keeps up, just because I think that's more interesting than just watching the same person win again.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like hopefully, like, I feel like, you know, the Cam Lyra group with the Big Brother people, with the Corey group, like they have enough numbers, and it seems like those people are on board too. Like, let's vote out the people that have won, and then, you know, they can go after the rookies. But also it's like weird. Maybe you like I sort of would want to keep the rookies around because they don't know what they're doing. They're new to this game. They don't know how grueling a final is, that like maybe some of the people will drop out in the final because they have never experienced it before. They aren't used to pushing their body like that. And then they'll quit during the final. And like, that's always good because that's one less person you're competing against. So I don't know. It just felt backwards, I guess, that like they were pushing for like let's vote rookies. I feel like I'd want to keep the rookies around, but also like CT and Ashley and Wes were all like so butthurt about like potentially going in first, but also like you should twist it and be like, okay, I'm CT, I'm Ashley, I got voted in by the house, like this is my chance to get a red skull and I can qualify for the final. Everyone was so butthurt that they were like potentially going to get voted in.
Yeah, it's just people are so weird. Just like, I think because a lot of the challenge is like the big scare intimidation tactics, like the whole before voting period is very different than like what it is like on Survivor, I guess. And because I'm so used to Survivor, I guess it's just weird to me to see that their strategy basically boils down to like, oh, should we vote out a champion or a rookie? Like, I guess it is pretty early in the game, so it's hard to tell who will be most beneficial to your game to vote out, but it was just weird.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to run against Natalie, Ashley, CT, Wes, any of those people in a final. So, like, it makes sense to put them all down there versus someone who, like, is maybe less physical, like you'd want to bring them to the final. So that's why it's also a good thing that there's like you have to go in and get a red skull, because I feel like so many times people would just like have a good social game that they would stick around in a season and then make the final because no one was ever willing them, or like no one was ever going to put them into elimination because like they're your number and they like also suck. So like if you have the one majority alliance ringleader, like they're not going to throw their alliance member in to an elimination because like that's a number for them and they know that they can beat that person in the final. So I do like the red skulls because then we don't have like all of that kind of thing where people can just float by until the end. Now it's like go in, prove yourself, and then you qualify for the final. So I do like that aspect of it. And so the crater where they're doing these eliminations was so cool. It was like literally, I don't know, it's so cool looking.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. I also really like the viewing stand that they have, like juts out over the crater. It's really cool. I also thought it was, I'm going to say cool again because I have the vocabulary of a 5-year-old apparently. I thought it was cool that they had the double agents like across the crater from everyone else, because it's like while the challenge is going on, they can't talk to anyone else, or the elimination challenge, that is. So I wonder if that like changes strategy at all, because it's like it's really hard for people to like beg for forgiveness or beg for them not to be put in if they're like across the crater from each other. So
yeah, it like looked cold out there. You could see people's breath. Everyone was like in like parkas and like hats and stuff. And then like we see, I do like how it is suspenseful because like CT and Ashley didn't know that they were going into the elimination. We saw like Leo and Gabby were sort of nervous standing up there when TJ was like announcing who got voted in. So I do like that everyone has to get dressed up for the elimination and you don't know if you're going in or not. So it keeps everyone nervous, keeps everyone on their toes, because I feel like in previous like prior seasons, it's like, oh, only these 6 people are up for elimination. So only these 6 people have to get dressed up and like get in the mental mindset. So I do like how it's like sort of random. Like I could go balls to the wall and pick you randomly. You didn't suspect it. And so that messes up your mental game. And so then you lose going down there because you weren't prepared. So I do like how everyone has to get prepared. Everyone has to get dressed up. Everyone does need to be in the zone rather than like half the cast wearing their normal clothes going to just watch for fun.
yeah, I think everyone needing to be in the zone, I think, is the coolest part of it, especially because it sounds like possibly the 2 double agents could disagree about who they want to send in. Because
Yeah.
Anissa was like, oh, I want to send in Natalie and Wes. And then TJ asks Fessy, like, do you also want to do that? And he says yes. And so I wonder what would happen if they disagreed or something like that. So
Yeah, I think it will be interesting to see if there's a tie in the future, or maybe like the double agents, it might not just be 2 people, but like for certain daily challenges, maybe it's like 2 to 6 people that could win, and then you get like the voting blocks kind of thing like we've seen before. But like 2 people having all that power, like that is a lot of power to get for winning the daily challenge. So I thought that was cool. So yeah, like you said, Wes and Natalie get voted in, and I was like, oop, we thought, maybe going with the champs and like having Wes as a mentor, someone to be partnered with, might not be that good because then you're a target because people don't like Wes kind of thing. But I just felt it was weird because Natalie didn't get a lot of screen time to be like voted in and to like win that challenge and to like come back to the house. She had like 2 confessionals, I feel like.
Yeah, I thought Natalie got very little screen time for someone who theoretically has such a large target because of her relationship with Wes.
Yeah, especially because like she didn't lose the challenge, she won the challenge and she's coming back to the house. But I feel like if you didn't know Natalie from Survivor, you would be like, rookie, who is this? Like she does CrossFit.
Yeah, I feel like almost we heard more about Natalie from other players than we did from Natalie herself. Because like one of the first things someone said in the introduction was like, oh, we have Natalie from Survivor. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but I don't think that many people are thinking, oh, it's Natalie from Survivor. So
That's Natalie from The Amazing Race. So I don't know. Like they got sent down in there, and then TJ was like, it's only a women's elimination. And I was like, FML. I really wanted to see CT and Wes go head to head. I wonder, like, production probably didn't like switch it at the last minute, but also I could see like production doesn't want their 2 Golden Boys champ winners this season going home first. So like CT and Wes like going in the first elimination, not gonna happen. So I was like, dang, okay, this sort of sucks that it's like a single person elimination and it's split by gender like this, because then I feel like we were saying before, the whole like partner thing doesn't really matter except for the daily eliminations, because if you're playing singularly in the challenges to be eliminated, then you really only need to rely on yourself.
Yeah, so that's interesting, and I hope we get more clarity on that. It would be really cool if there was ever like a double elimination week, but
yeah, I was like, maybe there's some twist where like both of the pairs would actually be paired and then like one whole pair would go home kind of thing to like help get like rid of people, because like 30 people down to 10 is like a lot for like a short period of time kind of thing. But yeah, I think it's sort of, I thought the twist was cool though. Like, okay, yeah, good for TJ for keeping this a secret. It's not really like pairs where like you're going into the elimination as a pair and you get kicked off as a pair. And so it's sort of like, for like everyone who voted for Wes and CT to go in, because I feel like CT is going to come back really pissed off. Wes will maybe come back really pissed off, but probably like hide it better. And so like sort of sucks that the people were willing to make a big move, but it might come to like bite them in the butt now. But that like, it's not really that like CT and Wes went home, but like only Ashley got eliminated. So like, hopefully, I'm hoping that the whole like let's vote the champs out, let's not just vote all the rookies out first mantra keeps on going, and that the people don't get scared that like CT didn't actually get voted out this week. Like we still need to target him.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting because Ashley was so confident going in. She was like, and when I come back, everyone's going to be so fucking sorry. And it's like, yikes, you didn't come back.
Yeah, but I feel like you got to go into the elimination sort of like cocky, like pump yourself up. But I feel like with Ashley and Natalie, both of them, they either go home super early in whatever seasons they're on for like whatever show, or they like go on to win the season. Because I feel like whenever Ashley's on, like she gets really far, or she like goes home in like the first 3 episodes. So same with Natalie with like Survivor or The Amazing Race. Like you're either first out or like you win.
Yeah, so it was cool though. I think this was a really solid premiere episode in setting up more things that could happen. And I think I like this format better, like I said. So so far I'm liking Double Agents way more than Total Madness.
Yeah, I agree. I think with the double agents twist, am interested. Hopefully, the strategy and everything like is actually good strategy and not just like I don't know, people like making up random stuff and like not actually thinking logically. But I feel like with having so many Big Brother Survivor players, like we know that the BB and Survivor people have that like strategic mind, that maybe they'll start bringing that more like strategy based gameplay to the challenge rather than just like, you know, I don't know, voting in because of like mass or like body weight or whatever. And I think with TJ and like production making all these new rules with like the skulls and like everyone has to go into elimination in order to qualify, that is sort of becoming a more strategic game. And with the switching of the partners, so Natalie can either stay with Wes or steal someone else's partner or go with CT. I feel like she would stay with Wes. I don't know if like stealing someone's partner right now might make someone like pissed off at you because you stole their partner so early. And like you don't know what's going to happen to like CT if he's not chosen. So I feel like she's going to go back to Wes to like play it safe for now. And then if something happens later on when you get to know more of the rules and like maybe CT gets eliminated because he doesn't have a partner, then you can like play more risky and like steal someone else's partner once you know the rules.
Yeah, and I think also stealing someone else's partner is probably easier / better to do when it's not just the first day. It's kind of like in Survivor, we always say like, don't make your huge move on day 3. Don't steal someone else's partner immediately.
Yeah, especially like people that really like their partner, they might be like pissed off at you and like hold a grudge against you because you stole their partner. And I think, you know, Natalie and Wes seem like they're getting closer. So if Natalie say she went with CT and maybe Wes gets eliminated because of that, I don't think Natalie would do that to Wes because you don't know what happens to the solo person. So I feel like Natalie will go back to CT next week. I mean, we'll go back to Wes next week.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Natalie will stick with Wes because another thing with switching partners is now your old partner knows that you don't like them as much. And that's yikes. So,
yeah, some like really, really cool, interesting dynamics there. So I think that adds to the strategy as well.
yeah.
Oh, so exciting. I'm like so freaking hyped for the challenge. I cannot watch it live because I don't think we have MTV on cable, so I have to watch it like the day after. But it's also on Wednesdays at 8, and the Amazing Race finale is on Wednesday at 8, so that's okay anyways.
Yeah. So it's super hype. Let us know in the comments down below if you watch the challenge. Let us know if you watch any other seasons of the challenge or if this is your first challenge season. And also, what do you think is going to happen? Who are you excited to see more of? And we'll be back next week with another video.